Hello, guys. How you guys doing? This past week, we have an incident in Chicago where teens are running amok, right? Trying to get into Millennium Park. I've been to Chicago, right? Chicago is not the same. Well, when I went to Chicago, it was in 2012, right? It had their crime, right? It's not. Chicago always perceived to be this mean street of Chicago um, characteristic, right? But this past week is really got out of hand, and it's really ridiculous what they're going through right now. This is the decay of society right now. Like, okay, this past week, right? The week of April is today. April 17th, this past weekend, today's Monday. What we witnessed in Chicago was basically the decay of society, decay of civilizations right now. We have kids running amok, causing havoc, trying to get in a barricade Millennium Park, right? Where you cannot come into a certain parameter without an adult or over the age of 18 or 21 or something like that, right? Most of the cause of the havoc and the riot happened during that time was caused by kids, minors, right? My question is, where were the adults? Where was the parent? Like I said in previous vehicle, it all stemmed from the family, the household. All these problems could be resolved if people would maintain their house in order, right? We have adults, parents that's not even parenting your kids, right? Back in my days, I'm not even allowed to get out the house when the street light is out, and we have these kids running amok like this without any authority figure. The police can't even control them. They're causing riots, stomping our cars, beating people up, right? And I wonder, like, is this the future of what we're going through right now? Is this what we're going to witness? Is this set up on purpose? And Chicago, I mean, they have, last week, Walmart said that they're withdrawing 4 stores from Chicago, saying it's low sales, right? Of course, it's low sell. You can't sell anything when people are stealing from you, right? Low profit. It says low profit. Of course, it's low profit when you have nothing sold, and people are stealing it, and people are jacking it, right? Right. So now it's even worse because all these companies are leaving Chicago. They ask. They just had an election, and what they do, they ask for more repressive leadership, right? They voted for somebody who's anti, you know, authority, anti, law and order, right? And his solution is to, instead of cops arresting people, his solution is to put more social worker. You think social worker could handle domestic violence? Do social worker carry are social worker armed? Are they trained in tactics? You gotta ask yourself that. If I become a social worker, I don't want to be that. That's another reason why I became to be a social worker, to induce violence on people, right? And they just elected this guy, right? So they got one bad element and elected another bad element into it. Chicago is dying. Chicago, oh my gosh, Chicago is getting even worse. It's even getting to the worst of the mob days of Chicago, right? The Al Capone. Now there's no leadership. There is weak leadership. That's what it is, right? But regardless of leadership, like I said in my previous video, this government cannot save you. You have to save yourself by moving out of this area. Get yourself out of this area, man. That's the only way. Rational people are realizing that Chicago's not worth saving, right? Because other people are voting for the same thing. They're so brainwashed, right? Chicago citizens are so brainwashed. And not to say all of them are brainwashed. There are good Chicago people. My friend lives in Chicago, right? I'm sure these people don't want this as well. The good-minded Chicagoans, right? They don't want this. It's just the people who's in charge of the kids, the parenting, are out of control. There's no parenting at all, right? There's no parenting at all. Like, why are you letting your kids out this late? This late at night, where they shouldn't be out at late at all. They shouldn't be home. This is why they can't read. This is why they can't. They can't do math. This is why they're failing high school. They're failing school, right? They're failing. They can't achieve higher educations, right? This is the reason why. It's all stemming from the family. It's all stemming in the household. Mom and dad, right? Broken household, right? Where the women are kicking the men out. The women are having sex out of wedlock. They're having all these multiple kids by multiple baby daddies, not knowing who the baby daddy is, and taking father out the household, destroy the nuclear family. These are the elements that causing what Chicago is going through right now. It's not just in Chicago, it's everywhere else in the city. Chicago, Atlanta, New York, Houston, LA, San Francisco, Seattle, Ohio, Cleveland, right? All this stuff. It's not a Chicago thing, it's a societal issue. Like, why are we getting men out of the household? Why are we destroying the nuclear family? Why are we preventing a healthy household from happening? Why are we discouraging a woman from getting married and not to divorce their man? Why can't relationship work out? Why are they kicking the fathers out of the household? Fathers is a main contributor to a cohesive household, right? You just can't be a mother and expect to be a father at the same time. You need both elements to have a strong structural family elements, right? It starts in the family. All these elements. It starts in the family and it starts with yourself as well. The family need a more support group. That's why they're destroying the family. This is why kids are running amok with no discipline in the household. Right? Causing riots for no reason on a random weekend. It needs to stop right now. And parents need to realize this. But yeah, I'm losing hope for Chicago. This is going out of hand, and people need to realize that the government cannot save you. It start with yourself. Start in the household family. I cannot say enough of this. All right, I cannot repeat myself. Saying the same thing over and over, and people are not putting their best foot forward and start with themselves. But on that note, guys, let me know what you think. Is Chicago worth saving? Right? Is it just Chicago or everywhere else? Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe, share my video, and I'll be back with another episode. Peace.